Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Andre and I came here today to show you the game I'm currently developing, which is Rescuing Lilly. This is a 2D platformer game slash adventure slash Metroidvania, which tells the story of this boy, Jonah, who lives on the top of the hills in this cozy village full of people and also full of cats. On a certain day, suddenly all the cats disappear, and at the same time, strange and weird creatures start to approach the village and destroy it. Then Jonah, who's the main character, manages to escape from these creatures, and one of the villagers tells him that it is no coincidence that the cats have disappeared and at the same time that these strange and weird creatures have arrived at the village and started to destroy it. He gathers his things and manages to escape from this village and starts his journey to find out what happened to all the cats, and especially one of them, who's Lilly, who is the one he considers to be his best friend. Well, as I told you, I have started to develop this game on September 2021, and this is my first big game, and there was really a lot of things which I had to think when I started this. For instance, I had no idea how I was going to communicate things in between scenes, and how was I going to save and load the game, and how to create an inventory, and about the enemies, and about controllers, and yeah, there's actually a lot of things you have to think about when you start doing a game like this. There's actually a lot of things I'm struggling with, and I will struggle until the end of this game, but that's fine. So yeah, let me tell you about what Jonah can do with regards to the controllers. First of all, Jonah can jump, Jonah can double jump, he can dash, he can fly or hover by using this kind of special cloth, and he can wall slide and he can wall jump too. And as a classic Metroidvania, all or almost all of these powers, let's say like that, or abilities, will be acquired when you kill a certain boss or you find a special item or something like this. Jonah will start with the basics and will acquire these other abilities, so he will be able to find new places and so on. It's like a classic Metroidvania. With regards to the weapons, Jonah has a sword and also a bow. There is also an inventory system where Jonah will keep the items he finds during the game, like keys and potions and so on. There's also these cat statues, which I pretty much used to save the game. So far the game has two enemies, and I implemented them using a finite state machine, which I found very interesting and not hard to use, and allows me to create as many states as I want, and which certainly helps with the creation of intelligence for the enemies. And talking about the enemies, the first is the crawler, which is this strange, weird creature that rolls charges against the player if he is on a certain distance, more for longer distances, and if you get closer, then the crawler uses his giant spikes to attack you, like a melee attack or something like that. And the second one, which is a spider, this one probably going to have another versions of this enemy, like smaller and bigger spiders with different behaviors, I don't know. The behavior for this one is a little more complex. The spider, when detects the player from a certain distance, from longer distances, fire projectiles against the player, like spider webs. And if the player approaches the spider dodges back, and if you approach the spider again, then it strikes against you. The enemies will drop items once you kill them, and these items will be different in terms of quantity of items which are dropped and in terms of what is being dropped. The harder the enemy, the bigger the reward. One of the big additions that I made recently to the game was adding sounds, so yeah, so far the game didn't have sounds, and it's magical what happens when you add sounds to the game. It just brings life to the game. I plan to have music for the game. I already have a composer working for me, but we're actually waiting a little more to see how the levels are going to be and just to feel a little more of the game, you know, feel how the vibe is gonna be. But yeah, music is gonna play a very important role in the game. All the mechanics of the game are being created using just these two scenarios, which is the village and Jonah's house. And this is enough since I have two scenarios which I can change from one another and see if the behavior of the game is correct and so on. And I know that you must be tired already of seeing all the videos that I post on the same scenario, but I think that before going ahead and creating a lot of scenarios, I have to make sure that the mechanics are working properly. But yeah, it's basically the next thing I'm gonna do is start creating new scenarios, since I have pretty much all the mechanics already working. Which brings me to the next topic, which is what are the last changes that I have delivered this weekend. So let's go. I added a lot of new stuff lately in the game since I had a little more time to work on it. So let me start by showing you the Flushable Objects. I just created this rock which the player can push, and this kind of object will be useful for solving puzzles and to reach for places which are not reachable by only using the jump, and so on. I still don't know what's going to be the main role of these objects, but certainly they will be useful. And now the main thing that I have done, which will add a lot to the game, is the charm system. If you have already played games like Hollow Knight, you may have seen already systems like this where the player hold charms and those hold special powers, let's say like this. And to illustrate this, I have created these two charms, one for the items to follow the player, which means when you kill an enemy, the enemy drops, for instance, health, and then the player has to reach for this health by himself. The item just stays there hovering and the player goes find it. However, if I use the charm to make the item follow the player, it will actually be collected automatically since it goes towards the player when you kill the enemy. The other one is the frozen arrow, which freezes the enemy if you shoot him using this charm, like this. And that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry for my lack of communication skills. I swear to you that I'm working on this. And this is my first video, so I have no experience with this. But hopefully I'm gonna have a Discord server in the future, and maybe you can drop in some ideas for the game. I will really appreciate that. And please drop your comment, thumbs up, subscribe, and that's it. Bye bye.